So I guess what I'm realizing is that I was never going to succeed going the route I was going. It was ultimately set up from the beginning for me to fail. Hey guys, it's Justyn. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to sit down and talk to you guys about an epiphany that I had a couple of weeks ago. It was just one random night where I was up really late per usual. And I don't know, for some reason, when I'm up really late at night, that's like when my creative juices start going. So I just began to become like deeper and deeper in thought with myself. And I finally started actually getting some answers to a question that I've been asking myself for a good while now. And that question was, why did I get off track to begin with? And what I mean by that is, if you're familiar with my story and my timeline, around the time when I first started backtracking after I had experienced all of my weight loss success, obviously I know what happened. I know how I got off track physically, but just to put it out there on the mental side, I've always been questioning myself, basically, why did I feel the need to go so far off track or go rogue if at the time I genuinely didn't feel like I was being too restricted or too deprived on the WW program? So that question has been constantly in the back of my mind for almost 2 years since it happened. And I think now I've just completely been able to let go of any biases that I might have still had and just completely be honest with myself and actually realize what the reality of the situation actually was and how that contributed to me backtracking and gaining all of my weight back. So before we get too deep into this conversation, I do want to thank our sponsor Skillshare for partnering with me on today's video. If you're unfamiliar, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of different classes online for creatives. On there, you can either fine-tune your pre-existing skills or you can discover new hobbies and interests along the way. They have a very large range of topics to choose from, including videography, photography, business, entrepreneurship, you name it. Right now, I am about halfway into a course that is all about productivity, something that I am in dire need of improving on. The class is called Productivity for Creatives, Building a System that Brings Out Your Best. And already I've learned so many tips and tricks from it. And what I really like about it is that although, yes, you're learning stuff, it doesn't feel like school at all. The teachers have a really nice and inviting way of keeping things exciting and just like making you want to learn more. For the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link down below in the description box, you will get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare so that you can start letting your creativity shine. So again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video.
I am looking up yo-yo dieting and just like getting more of an understanding on that. And for one, I think I can finally, I feel like I fit somewhere, because whenever I talk about disordered eating, even though I've said in the past that I binge, I never really identified with binge eating disordered because I don't always binge, but I feel like yo-yo dieting is more where I would fit into, going back and forth in between restricting, binging. So anyway, I'm looking up information on yo-yo dieting, and what did I see? It says individuals who yo-yo diet may actually end up gaining more weight than they originally started with. People who are obese often struggle with yo-yo diets, particularly if they are not given correct information about sustainable and long-term weight loss. So I read this and I immediately thought of WW, because at this point of my journey, I still look at the time that I was on WW not as a bad time or like the worst thing in the world. And honestly, whenever I was on WW and I was being very successful, like when I dropped 50 pounds in 4 months, I did not feel deprived. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Like, I don't know. I didn't feel deprived. So now I'm wondering, if I didn't feel deprived when I was on WW, why whenever I slipped up and had a cheat weekend that turned into a cheat week, that turned into a cheat month, if I didn't feel deprived and I was really restricting, why did I feel the need to binge? That's the question I've been asking myself over and over, because I still felt like I felt like it was sustainable. I felt like out of everything else that I had tried, keto, paleo, green smoothie challenges, detox tea challenges, I felt like WW was the most sustainable. But why did I binge? And I think I'm coming to the realization that I lost 50 pounds in 4 months. That was a lot of weight, and in the moment, I was so proud of myself, and I looked at it as a great thing, a proud thing. Like I did something good. And now, kind of looking at it a little bit more like on an unbiased basis, I was dropping weight way too fast. Even though I didn't feel restricted due to where I was, because I started Weight Watchers at like 292 pounds, so I was damn near 300 pounds. For me to drop that and literally 4 months later be at what, 242, that's such a big change in my body. And so I don't know, I'm still trying to understand like metabolism and eating disorder and yo-yo diet. Like I'm trying to connect the dots. But I think for me, this is like the first time that I've actually, like, I can somewhat pinpoint the problem. I didn't see it as a problem when it was happening, but now I'm able to see that even though this company labeled themselves as sustainable, and even though I don't know, maybe I like kind of brainwashed myself, because I mean, if I'm being truthful, was I 100% satisfied on WW? No. I mean, if I would have had an extra 10 points, I would have used them, but I also knew that I wasn't going to get my blue dot. I wasn't going to lose as much weight. Wow, I'm having so many epiphanies right now. So no, I did feel deprived on WW. I think because it was working, I told myself that I wasn't, and I was suppressing those hunger cues. Oh my gosh, it's all making sense right now. And I just continue to ignore the fact that yes, I was still hungry. No, I wasn't fully satisfied. No, I wasn't full. My stomach might not have been growling, but I wasn't full. And so even though I thought it was sustainable, I'm looking at it and it wasn't. And literally, it was designed for me to fail.
So realizing the fact that I was indeed deprived on WW and it wasn't as sustainable for me as I thought it was in the moment was just super eye-opening. Even now, as somebody who just doesn't really align with intentional weight loss or dieting, even before I had this epiphany, I still kind of looked at this program as almost like the lesser of all the evils, just because of how much success I had on the program and because I genuinely enjoyed the framework and the flexibility of it as compared to other weight loss programs that I had tried before. But regardless of what biases I might have had before, now I'm just really able to look at it for what it is, and that is simply that restriction leads to binging. Regardless if you're lying to yourself to believe that you're not really restricting, our bodies know, and they're going to continue to follow that same cycle. One interesting fact that I've learned throughout this journey is that our bodies actually are unable to tell the difference in between us going on a diet and us being in a famine. So regardless if you genuinely don't have any food to eat, or if you're intentionally restricting your food intake under the name of a diet for weight loss purposes, once we stop eating or we're not eating enough, our bodies are going to do whatever it can to preserve energy, which includes holding on to that very weight that you're trying to lose. You know, several videos ago, I mentioned that one of my hopes for this new journey is that once I reach a place where my body trusts me enough to not put it through another diet, that eventually it's gonna start to let some of the weight go. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a lot of flack for that, mainly because I think people just misunderstood what I was trying to say. I wasn't meaning that somehow I think that my body is just gonna like magically snap back without any effort on my part. What I meant, and honestly I don't even think I do this at the time, was that through me giving my body enough time to just know and trust that I'm not going to restrict it again, my metabolic rate should start increasing, which in return will cause me to start shedding some of the weight that I'm carrying. One challenging thing for me with documenting my journey online is that I am learning and sharing simultaneously. So sometimes I'm saying things to you guys that I have just heard repetitively from either my therapist or other dietitians, but like I don't, because I'm still learning, I don't necessarily know the full background and the scientific explanation and understanding of every single thing. So yeah, I get sometimes some of the stuff I say, it might seem like I'm just pulling this out of the sky from nowhere or I'm just in la la land, but I don't really want to stop sharing my journey just because of that, because like I said, it is a journey. And I don't know, I feel like there's value in me sharing the process, like sharing me growing and learning in real time, rather than me just going off and doing my own thing and then I want to come back at the end when I feel like I know it all and then I want to share all the knowledge with you guys. Like, I don't know, that's just my take on that. So anyway, so basically from what I have learned from doing all of this research is that basically from so many years of weight cycling, aka yo-yo dieting, I have not only severely damaged my own trust within my body, my intuition, I have also damaged my metabolism as well. Hey guys, future Justyn here. I wanted to put in a little chart just so you could better visually understand what I'm talking about. As you can see, the red line is reflected by my weight. So with that constantly going up and down because of my caloric intake, every single time I go through this restricting back to binging cycle, my metabolic rate continues to drop. And in this chart alone, it's only showing like 2 cycles, but just imagine me doing this for the last 10 years, how much that has severely damaged my metabolism. You know, one very big misconception people have about me, and honestly something that I've kind of had about myself up until recently, is that throughout my life, I gradually ate my way to 300 pounds, which with all of this self-reflection and research, I'm finding that out not to be true. For one, I didn't even start off at a heavy weight needing to lose weight. Like at the very beginning, back when I was a teenager, I was at an average weight. My issue is I was insecure because I was comparing myself to all of my peers and I was wanting to intentionally lose weight so that I could match them. And once, you know, that first diet failed, that literally is what started this over 10-year cycle of me restricting, binging. And throughout that time, not only have I significantly lowered my metabolic rate, but I've also, with every single diet and setback that I've gone through, I have been raising my set point weight. So the way that I look at it is that I really didn't eat my way to 300 pounds. I dieted my way to 300 pounds. And with saying that, I can just hear the comments now of people who, not to be rude, but just have a very narrow-minded level of understanding. But it's okay. I keep having to remind myself that I'm not making content for y'all, so what you say don't really matter. So I guess basically to sum it all up, I kind of had 2 epiphanies. For one, WW definitely was not sustainable for me, and I was 100% under eating while I was on the program. I know that is probably very uncomfortable for some of you guys to hear. I know I gained a lot of my audience through the WW community, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. That's me just being real. The reason I went all in, went crazy, went rogue when I finally gave myself an allowed cheat weekend is because I went into that weekend deprived. And like I said earlier, restriction leads to binging. And number 2, which I don't know why I'm kind of excited for this, is that I realized that I've kind of been misdiagnosing myself for several years now. I assumed that I had binge eating disorder, but now I know that that's not the case. And I can more so just definitely align myself with long-term weight cycling, which although there is some definite overlap in between the two, they are not one and the same. I don't know if it's just me, but I really like being able to put an actual correct name to the disorder, to the issue, whatever it is, because it helps me in the long run be able to research my specific case and condition, and just be able to have like more accurate information. And not only that, but it's just more relatable, so it makes me feel like I'm not quite alone in this. So anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. All of my just self-growth, self-healing, self-revelations, everything, it's all connected. And I don't know, it just makes me so excited like how much I'm finding out about myself and all of these deep dives that I'm doing, and just all of these realizations. Like I feel like at the end of this, it's gonna make sense, and it's gonna feel like this is how it was always meant to be. And I know a lot of y'all are doubting me right now, and y'all are just not here for it, but I promise you, actually I don't promise you, because like I said, there's no guarantee, but I don't know, I just have a strong feeling that like in a year or 2 from now, a lot of y'all gonna be like, oh, Shawty actually knew what she was talking about. Oh, maybe she's on to something. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe we judged her way too soon. I don't know, but it's all right though. I'm learning through this self-love journey that my validation is the only validation that I need. That's just what I have to do for myself to protect my own peace, because it's lovely when everybody loves you, but when everybody hates you, I can't put my worth and my value in other people's hands. Anyway, that kind of took a turn that was not planned, but let's go ahead and do the super special secret emoji shout outs. So very special shout out to Miss Tiffany Jackson, shout out to Miss Brittany Danielle, and shout out to Miss Kayla Azaria. Thank you guys so much for supporting. I really do appreciate it. And for today's super special secret emoji, we're gonna go with the rainbow emoji, because I actually meant to do that last month for Pride Month, but I forgot. So better late than never. Comment that down below and you will possibly be shout out in my very next video. And as always guys, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on this journey, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys.